This is Radio Taiwan International. Welcome to the news on Radio Taiwan International. I'm Amanda Stevens, coming to you from Taipei, Taiwan. We begin with a look at today's top stories for Friday, June 19th. No security breaches reported following massive FortiBleed data leak. President Lai Ching-te says trust between ruling and opposition parties is insufficient. And China advances military robotics as Taiwan prepares countermeasures. But first, today's top story. The Cybersecurity Administration, or CSA, announced on Friday, June 19th, that no security breaches have been reported in Taiwan so far, following reports of the massive data leak dubbed FortiBleed. In the FortiBleed announcement, cybercrime tracker Hudson Rock said that over 75,000 firewalls were compromised in more than 15 countries, the top three most affected being India, the United States, and Taiwan. Fortinet is a U.S.-based cybersecurity company that supplies firewalls, VPNs, and security services for companies and government agencies around the world. On Wednesday, June 17th, Hudson Rock reported a staggeringly massive attack that compromised 50% of all internet-connected Fortinet firewall devices. The attack targeted all sectors of the global economy, as well as the government agencies and critical infrastructure of multiple countries. The CSA said after receiving the report, it immediately contacted Taiwan's government agencies, critical infrastructure authorities, and private entities such as Foxconn, which may have been targeted. All possibly affected agencies were required to change passwords, restrict external access, and take other steps as part of a response mechanism in addition to strengthening cybersecurity defense capabilities. The attack is thought to have been carried out by a Russian-speaking organized crime group. One technique used involved using data from previous incidents to repeatedly guess passwords, also called a brute force attack, and gain access to secured information. Hackers could use that information to then get into government agencies or enterprises for malicious activity. The CSA urged relevant agencies to review system logs and be proactive about investigating any suspicious activity, behavior, or hacking instances, reporting it in accordance with relevant security laws. Although no hacking incidents have yet been recorded since the news, the CSA will continue to monitor the situation and take appropriate risk mitigation steps. President Lai Ching-te stated that trust between the ruling and opposition parties is currently insufficient, but as president, he will not give up seeking cooperation. He said this in response to concerns over political division within the government at a tea reception hosted for foreign media at the Taipei Guest House on Thursday. During the gathering, the president addressed questions raised by the media regarding Taiwan's national security legislation, U.S. arms sales to Taiwan, economic and maritime issues, dialogue between the ruling and opposition parties, Taiwan-Japan cooperation, and cross-strait relations. One foreign media outlet asked whether the international community's strong focus on Taiwan's internal political divisions would affect Taiwan's democratic resilience and social cohesion in the face of hostile foreign forces. It noted that since President Lai took office, the leaders of the major political parties have not yet formally met, and the divide between the ruling and opposition parties in the legislature has stalled some policy agendas. In response, the president stated that unity is strength. If the ruling and opposition parties in Taiwan can reach a consensus and prioritize national interests and the right of the people, it will be very helpful for the country in facing various challenges. A U.S. think tank warns that China is rapidly integrating AI and robotic systems into military operations, potentially deploying robot wolves during a Taiwan conflict.
China's military is accelerating efforts to integrate artificial intelligence and robotics into future warfare, raising concerns that unmanned ground units could play a role in any potential conflict over Taiwan. A new report by the Washington-based Foundation for Defense of Democracies says the People's Liberation Army is advancing what Beijing calls intelligentized warfare by combining AI, autonomous systems, and robotics with frontline combat operations. One of the technologies drawn attention is a four-legged robotic platform known as a robot wolf. Similar in appearance to a large dog, the machine can be equipped with cameras, sensors, light detection, and ranging systems, as well as onboard computers. Some versions can transport supplies, conduct reconnaissance missions, and even carry weapons. Craig Singleton, a senior fellow with the think tank, says Taiwan could become a primary testing ground for these systems. He notes that a cross-strait invasion would likely involve intense beach landings, urban combat, and disrupt communications, making unmanned platforms useful for some of the most dangerous frontline tasks. Potential missions include scouting landing zones, clearing obstacles, mapping terrain, and delivering supplies before human troops move in. Singleton says Taiwan should prepare by strengthening drones and robot detection capabilities, investing in electronic warfare systems, and conducting training exercises focused on countering unmanned threats in urban environments. Taiwan is also developing similar technologies. The National Zhongshan Institute of Science and Technology recently demonstrated several robotic dog variants capable of reconnaissance, patrol, and combat support missions. Analysts say future military competition across the Taiwan Strait may increasingly involve not only ships and missiles, but also robotics and artificial intelligence. Joey Cho for RTI News.
The Food and Drug Administration, or FDA, closed 124 cases of illegal GLP-1 drug sales from 2024 to 2026, resulting in fines of over $112,000. The Health Ministry continues to investigate increasing numbers of unauthorized sales, especially as the drugs, commonly sold for weight loss, are now available in generic form. The FDA has approved 3 GLP-1 medications for weight control. All 3 are prescription drugs requiring a professional medical evaluation, a prescription from an authorized physician, and dispensing by a pharmacist. However, many people obtain these drugs online or through private channels, creating risks of scams and incorrect use. The violations found in the FDA cases include unauthorized pharmaceutical company operations, improper drug dispensing procedures, sale of prescription drugs without a prescription, and failure to properly prepare or record medication administration in medical records. Regarding online platforms, the FDA is collaborating with the Federation of Taiwan Pharmacists Associations, online platform operators, and the Taiwan Network Information Center. To date, nearly 1,200 posts illegally selling GLP-1 medication on platforms, such as Facebook and Threads, have been removed. 5 websites selling them have been taken down. In response to the rampant smuggling of GLP-1 drugs into Taiwan, FDA Deputy Director General Wang Deyuan stated that the illegal sources of slimming injections mainly fall into 2 categories: those carried into the country by travelers and those purchased online. The FDA is currently in discussions with the Customs Administration about including these medications in the scope of entry declaration management, or making them a key item for border inspection. The FDA reminds the public that GLP-1 medications require patients to meet certain criteria. If you require this medication, consult a professional physician through legal medical channels to ensure safety. Yale University professor Bruce Ackerman was awarded the 2026 Tang Prize in Rule of Law on Thursday. The organizers said the award was in recognition of his intellectual leadership in developing new conceptions of constitution making, judicial review, and the structures needed for democratic constitutional governance, offering conceptual and practical approaches to defend the rule of law amid the crises facing modern republics. The Tang Prize Foundation cited Ackerman's contributions to the Rule of Law Center on his groundbreaking theory of dualist democracy. It says politics in a controversial democracy can be divided into 2 modes: normal politics, found in everyday operation of the system, and constitutional politics, which arises through high citizen mobilization and activation of constitutional mechanisms. The latter can guide a nation out of gridlock in times of challenge or paralysis of the constitutional order. The Tang Prize is a series of awards given once every 2 years for outstanding achievements in the fields of sustainable development, biopharmaceutical science, sinology, and rule of law. Thanks for joining me for the news. I'm Amanda Stevens. Stay tuned for another 50 minutes of English language features, brought to you by Radio Taiwan International.